What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Man Card Podcast. Of course, I'm very excited that you decided to join us today on this lovely Monday. I appreciate you being here, and today, I usually say, as usual, I'm joined by Mitchell Peters, but unfortunately, that man is out of town. So I have taken it upon myself to find a supplemental co-host for the time. And his name is Greg. How do you pronounce your last name again? It's Leopold?
Leopold. So stalk me on Facebook. I'm definitely, you can't find all of my specific information, personal information, but you may be able to find me. Although, I think...
You said that like Ron Swanson is like, he Googles his home address and like throws his computer in the dumpster.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the amount of information about me on the internet is probably more than I'd like. But it's less than other people.
Well, so, good. I mean, That's everybody talking about their ecological footprint. What about our digital footprint?
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to have an oversized shoe when it comes to your digital footprint because people are going to figure out that you can't run for office eventually.
What was it? Just came out. It just came out. I think it was like 2 or 3 days ago. I think it was the Prime Minister of, what was it? Like New Zealand or...
Oh, there was somebody... You
Norway?
mean they're partying?
She was out partying.
Oh, yeah. I saw that video. I mean, come on. Like,
yeah.
She's throwing back a couple drinks, hanging out with the boys. Or I think it was boys and girls, but I don't discriminate. And yeah, she was having a good time, and people got their panties all in a twist, and they were not okay with it. Like... She's a human being. Is she not allowed to party? You don't see what Joe Biden does in private, and I guarantee you that stuff is crazy.
No, I can guarantee it. And I think really the reaction was it shouldn't be encouragement of that behavior. I think you shouldn't go, oh yeah, go get it, girl. Like you should totally do that every night because you're the prime minister on one hand, but on the other hand, you shouldn't be like, oh, you should never do that because obviously you're just a human. So you're going to hang out with friends. You're going to party. You're going to, throw back a couple brewskis. As long as you're not being an alcoholic about it, it's appropriate to take a little break, especially if you're working hard. Now, I think politicians nowadays, a lot of them, most of them, don't work hard. So I would say that, her hanging out, chilling out, throwing back the beers, it's not it's not something that's been earned, probably, most likely. Guarantee it.
I don't even know who we're talking about, but so she might actually be. I've just seen the video, so she might actually be like one of the coolest people around. But
listen, if you're out there and you want to give us a ring, you're in the States, and before we get too deep, I think we need to acknowledge the fact that we're outside right now. We are in the middle of the street.
No more COVID lockdown.
Yeah, thank goodness. So we're taking advantage of that here in the great state of Georgia on Georgia Tech campus. So, Greg lives down here, so I thought, hey, why not take advantage of this beautiful, scape that we have here.
Right.
And hang out.
And really, people have been looking at us, a lot. I will tell you, all the ladies check us out, and men, actually. This is a very...
Actually, it's more men that are looking at us nowadays.
Right. Yeah. Everyone saw Top Gun Maverick, and
100%.
Dude, except for me, besides me.
Oh, okay. So just a warning before you go see it.
Yeah,
I'm not going to spoil
no spoilers, please.
But I left that movie wanting to join the military and feeling the requirement being rested upon me to do more push-ups.
Oh, yeah.
So those are the two takeaways that I have from Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah. Well, I think it would be cool to serve in the military. I think Israel has a mandatory. Yeah. And I think probably multiple other countries have that. And I think that's probably a good thing. But really, do we need everyone serving in the military?
So you know why they do that?
So
I have some inside information.
People aren't biatches.
Okay. So yeah, sure. I'm sure that helps with that. But do you know Ethan Klein of H3H3 on YouTube?
Oh, yes. The kind of annoying guy. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes he's funny, stuff. Sometimes he's annoying.
He used to have really good hot take kind of stuff, kind of like Cody Ko in his prime.
Sure.
And so his wife I think it's Ela Klein, I think is her name. Either way, she is from a country that has that mandatory requirement.
Nice.
And so when Ethan was visiting, he saw her in uniform and serving, and that's why they do it. Because they want to inspire more people to join their military because there's a bunch of like super duper attractive women in the ranks.
Well, if it's mandatory, then you don't really need to attract people. Maybe they're trying to attract people to come
no, it's like
back
tourists.
to Israel.
Yeah, I think it's tourists.
Oh, tourists.
Like, I think they get people to come and like, because he literally met her on duty and then they got married.
Yeah, I mean, for being, I guess he's at the top of his game, really.
I guess. I don't know. I wouldn't think that he is. I don't know. He seems a little lethargic to me, but that's okay.
Yeah. But I mean, he's doing something right. He's appealing to the the general, probably young people, young population, which, let's be honest, not quality. It's not quality nowadays.
Wait, hold on. You're saying Gen Z isn't the upper echelon of society?
I would argue that we haven't had a good generation in probably 80 years.
What's your opinion on a good generation? Like, what makes a good generation? Like, what would you say the last good generation was?
I mean, the generation before the generation who like paved the way for the sexual revolution, probably.
So probably like the boomers. Or the greatest generation.
I think probably the greatest generation, because
okay.
I think the boomers kind of opened the door for all of this degenerate
by ignoring their kids or something. Because their kids, I think, are like Gen X.
Yeah,
I want to say, and that's my parents are Gen X.
Right.
And they're the forgotten generation.
And your parents are how old? When were they born?
Yeah, so they were born. Oh, see, this is putting me on the spot now. I don't know, because I know my dad's birthday is in April 2nd.
Okay.
But I'm trying to think what year. He was born in like the 60s, I want to say.
Okay, well, so
he's like 50-something.
Yes, so if my parents are like right in their early 60s.
Okay. So same with my wife's parents.
Right. So they were born in the 60s, right? They were born in the early 60s. And, I blame my parents, and I blame kind of that generation for not standing up for I don't know, like good values. And I kind of give my parents a hard time about that. Realistically, like I mean, not a lot, but enough. I think
you have to.
Oh yeah, but like I think our generation, mine and yours, millennials, we millennials, maybe Gen Z, are going to be the generations that kind of turn the tide, or going to be the generation that solidifies kind of where we're going, like puts that final nail in the coffin, because obviously we're headed towards sort of a, what you would say is kind of like a hive mind, like
it's a top down kind of thought process instead of like a grassroots, like. And that's the thing is, I think just the general concept. Also, apologize for the background noise. That is the
here comes the Stinger
bus, so we can say hello to that.
And it's new. It's brand new.
It's brand new. That's probably why it sounds so crisp.
Yeah, those brakes sound crispy.
Yeah,
it's nasty. Okay, we got a little honk. We got a little honk. That was a gentleman too, so we really have been attracting the men,
especially all the guys running by. They're all like, "Yeah, what's up?"
Yeah, we got a little thumbs up here.
But yeah, so I think, with the generation that you're talking about, kind of like solidifying everything, I think it's kind of come to the point where they feel like it's a grassroots movement.
Yeah.
Right. So it's almost like they're tricking themselves into thinking we are doing something against the grain, right? Which globally, yes, right? Because their opinion globally is very, very significantly in the minority.
You're talking about like a progressive ideology. Right.
But they don't think that, right? So they're like, oh, this is mainstream. We're the masses. So it's projected as a top-down view. And then they're tricking themselves into thinking like, oh, we're so like rebel with a cause type of thing. Yeah. When in reality, it's like, well, no, every greater structure that is, I guess a powerful entity, you could say, like college campuses or like news networks or any kind of like power structure that would put out information to the great majority of Americans.
The CDC.
The CDC, like you'll have all those entities. They're all pushing the same thing, and so like.
Yes.
It's turned into a top-down thing, and they think they're doing something like, oh my gosh, like we're in the minority of people.
Well, the mentality of people nowadays is it's good to be, or you want to be in the minority because you want to have special
treatment.
Special privileges, and it's not like, oh, I need to work hard, I need to get get good grades, get a good job. I mean, I don't want to get. I mean, we could get into this, but obviously the corporate kind of like the corporate structure nowadays, with the U.S. kind of being a crony capitalist society, is not that great. But you can't even you can't even support a family on one wage, right?
Yeah. So that's that. On the one hand, that's totally tough for sure. But I think it's funny because I don't know. Part of me is like, yeah, crony capitalism, of course, bad. But at the same time, the capitalist society that we all take pleasure in living in today is the most successful, individualist, inclusive, diverse community that exists on the planet.
Right.
Right? Because if you can reference another society, like let's say Sweden, Norway, whatever, those are some of the most homogenized groups of people on the planet. Like it's all the same. They're all the same person. It's the same kind of ideas. But here, you get not only a melting pot of backgrounds, races, thought processes, but you've got such a diverse, you have mentalities in the South that you don't exist in the North. Like it's so part and parcel for where you are in the United States, and I just think it's so interesting because like if you don't like something, and that's why we've had such a flight from California, right? It's like if you don't like something for where you are, just leave. Right. You know what I mean? So it's like nobody's forcing you to stay in Gotham, guys. Just leave if they're going to blow it up. You know what I mean? So
right. Well, California and cities as well, but I don't want to get into. I don't want to kind of accept this sort of what you're proposing about. Norway and Sweden. They are maybe not. They don't have any diversity of thought, or they don't have much diversity of thought.
No, I'm saying diversity of people.
Right,
I think that's exactly one of the reasons why they don't find it as hard to just exist and go forward.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Because, like, if you have a community like we do, with so many different types of people, so many different types of backgrounds, types of races, like, you're inherently going to have advocates within that community that will assume or presuppose that there is some kind of discrimination happening just by virtue of there being various different groups of people that are existing in a space.
Right.
And so, that's something that I am very jealous of in those homogenized groups is like you get, that is not a thought process that's there because there is nothing. But then within the United States, it's awesome because you can have such a diverse collective of people that you're friends with and surround yourself with. Like my church, it's so diverse. Like everybody is there, Asian, Black, Filipino, like you name it, there's everybody there. And it's so fun to be able to meet all these different types of people, talk about their families, like how they grew up and how they think about things. It's cool.
I think also like, we went to Tech and we had so many international students, like my, Randy, he lived in China and then came over here and finished out high school and then went to went to college. Right. And my buddy Ali's from Iran, and he is coming back to the States. I mean, everyone does want to be here. I think the issue is, we have a kind of like a larger and larger, a growing population of people who are not just minorities, but also like whites as well, that are that feel like they are being disenfranchised because of like, well, I guess maybe whites don't feel like they're being disenfranchised, but like you could say white women are like really upset about white men and then a bunch of minorities are really upset about white men, and everyone hates white men.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it really boils down to, like, if you are a straight white Christian male, you're in a losing category at the moment.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of how the chips fall. And my dad, I reference my dad on this podcast a lot, but he gives me a lot of good lines. And he told me when I was in high school, was it high school? I think it was when I was starting at Tech. And he told me, hey, because I'm very outspoken in how I think. I ruffle feathers, and I don't really care. I mean, I care what happens from that now, more so than I used to. And so at that time when I used to not care, my dad was like, hey, look, obviously I think you're right. I think you have really good opinions, but I think it would be helpful for you just to stop saying stuff. You know what I mean? And he's right. I mean, at the core of that argument, he's not saying, like, of course, like, suppress your views or anything, because I'm still going to act out and donate and use my dollars and actions to support things that I believe in. But at the end of the day, like, going out to, Instagram trolls and having a dialogue on a virtual space is not something that's going to be conducive for any kind of, like, successful conversation.
Right. It won't be. It's not going to be edifying to engage with people in the current environment in a way that is not. I mean, most of the ways that we interact with other people when it comes to talking like politics or current issues is not edifying. So we need to figure out a way for there to be a different. We need to create different spaces or revert to a kind of like a mindset where we can have disagreements with people and still be okay. You know?
I mean, what blows my mind especially is, like, the foundation of this country, right? And that's what a lot of people are talking about right now. Constitutionally, Bill of Rights, like, it's just total history stuff where everybody starts diving in and they get so pissed because they're like, oh, the founding fathers were a bunch of hypocrites, or whatever. And I'm really like, and of course, like, you think about it hard. I mean, you think about it hard, and obviously that argument doesn't hold water. But, like, on the surface,
I mean, even if you look at the facts, I mean, I'm not an expert when it comes to American history, and
nor am I. Nor would I ever say that I am.
Right, and what I will say about these people who are saying these kinds of things, here comes the stinger again, is that they are also not experts on this stuff. And they're talking about it like, oh, yeah, I know about Thomas Jefferson. He raped that slave. Hey, like, yo, bro, chill. Yeah, well, like, you don't actually know that. That's like just a claim, and you heard it from somebody who was really upset or, like, has, like, put themselves in a position to be really upset.
Right, yeah.
And they have taken this claim and turned it into a fact.
Well, yeah, because today, especially, what it comes down to is, like, people have a lot of time, and we live in a first world country where, I mean, look at us right now.
Yes.
What the hell are we doing right now? You know what I mean? We're sitting on a street talking about random shit. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Like,
yes.
We
and
have
everything's political. It's definitely political.
But, like, we have so much time on our hands that
I know.
That it's like, of course, we're going to be advocating for one thing with our time that we have ample of, and then the other half of the people are going to be advocating for whatever they believe in.
Right.
But, and that's exactly what you're saying. It's like all these people have so much time, and I really think advocating, like being offended for other groups of people is a first world luxury in my mind.
Yes.
Because you don't have to worry about food. You don't have to worry about where your next food's coming from.
Yeah, and you know what? I actually think food should be more expensive. So as much as much as I hate inflation right now.
All right, go off, Andrew Tate. Let's hear it.
As much as I hate inflation right now, food is getting more expensive, and food getting more expensive makes me upset for the people who are not making a lot of money.
Sure.
But I think we need to pay more. I think we need to, like, appreciate more the commodities that we consume.
Okay, so I actually have
because we don't.
Yeah, we don't at all. So I have a really good business case for exactly what you're talking about. So I took this class called Healthcare Management in the Scheller College of Business. Yeah. Shout out. And it was an awesome class, and the professor really loved for us to step into areas where we would disagree, right?
Right.
And one of the topics was there's a company, right? Company X is going to Africa with a bunch of mosquito nets, right? Should they, A, give them out for free to all of the people that are there in these villages?
Right.
Or should they, B, make the people pay, however incremental the value is in that certain town or village? Like, should they make them pay for these mosquito nets? Ultimately, what ended up happening is they tried both. And so the correct answer, which, I mean, I guess correct answer, but like what ended up happening was for the village that they didn't make pay and they gave them for free, they ended up using them for everything but mosquito nets. They used them for fishing nets. They used them for totally random things. And then the village that they did make charge took a lot of ownership in what it was that they were investing in, which was this mosquito net, which they, at that point, of course, knew and were taught, just like the other village, mind you, that it would save their life, save their children's lives. And it's just a really interesting case. And, of course, like one of the only classes I had throughout my entire time at Tech where this professor was advocating for kids to be offended, right?
Yeah.
He was like, if you're not upset at the end of this conversation, like, you're doing something wrong.
Right.
And it was awesome. It was really great.
Well, I think to speak to that point, I mean, that's, my stepdad is Jewish, so this will not surprise. This will probably not be a surprising like mindset that he has. But he says, if you aren't getting paid, like if someone is not paying you a reasonable amount of money, then they don't appreciate you. And I think that is the same that applies to commodities as well, or things that we need. And one thing I wanted to say was, we live here in the United States. It's awesome because we can spend our money on whatever we want. And there are so many things we could spend money on. Now, me being, like a more conservative person, I would say we should probably not have we should probably not have like a whole bunch of options, because people are just going to like, their head's going to be in the clouds. Right, exactly. And they're not going to be focused on like what's really important. And so I think having a bunch of options is like not great, but also great at the same time. And the fact that we get to choose what we spend our money on, capitalism is awesome because people, create things and then you buy what you want, right?
Yeah, you buy with your dollars, and you put like organizations that don't get enough funding fall apart.
We really should be buying with gold coins, really. I know you're saying we buy with our dollars, but we should be buying with gold. We should be buying with gold.
Sponsored by what's the
gold line?
Gold line, yeah.
Not sponsored. Not sponsored by gold line.
Not sponsored.
Sponsored by. Oh wow, he's already gone.
Yeah, well, that dude on a freaking what are those? I almost called it a
ripstick.
No, I almost called it a razor. I'm literally a child of scooters, but
what are you talking about? Just the motorized skateboard?
Yeah, what's it called? Like, there's a brand.
I have no clue. Oh no, I have no clue. There are those one-wheeled skateboards.
The one-wheels are cool.
Those are really cool.
Do you ride skateboards?
Can I ride skateboards?
Or anything like that?
I can ride a ripstick, and that actually lent itself really well to me being able to ride or me being able to ride a snowboard. When I went, we took a trip, like years ago, before I tore my Achilles, tore my, everything else.
Sorry.
No. It's it's
when
life.
When did you tear that? Was it here when you were at Tech?
Yeah, it was spring of.
I remember. Yeah, you were walking around with the knee.
Yeah, it was spring of 2020, and luckily classes got canceled because of COVID. And so I didn't have to continue scooting around in the boot, but that recovery wasn't too bad because I didn't actually have to have surgery. But the ripstick lent itself well to being able to snowboard, really well. That's
not. See, I've never been the last time I think I was on the slopes, as they call it. I think I was 3.
Oh yeah.
I was young. I don't even remember it. I was so young.
Well, you're a Georgia boy.
Yeah, so my parents went with some of their friends to the mountains where the snow is, I guess.
Right.
And they took me with them, and I think they bundled me up in obviously the layers and layers because I'm just a little kid.
Right.
And they were putting me through while they were going out on the slopes. They put me through this little kids school for skiing or whatever.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening is they bundle us up and they put us outside in the appropriate clothing for the appropriate weather. And then they were like, oh, something happened, and they had to bring us back inside. And so, what's up, dude? Felt your big Johnson from here. But they put us back inside next to the fire. Yeah. And I was overheating, apparently, like crazy. Oh, wow. And I started just crying and losing it. And the instructor like called my mom and was like, hey, like your kid's losing it. And she was like, yeah, okay, I'll come check it out. And obviously she showed up and she was like, well, idiots, like you made them sit by a fire with all their clothes on.
They tried to kill you, actually.
Yeah, like, and so of course, like I didn't make it through to the training on the slopes, which I don't even remember the day at all. So
not even your fault.
Yeah.
Not even your fault.
Yeah, what did I do? I don't even know if I would have retained any of that knowledge on how to ski.
Oh, well, I mean, if you haven't skied since then, if you went out and tried to ski now, you probably would not have any muscle memory, from your 4-year-old escapade out in the...
Well, let's just say if I did...
On the slopes.
Then that would be a rarity. Because although the one thing I can do, and I did when I was a Boy Scout, was mountain board. You know mountain boarding?
I have no clue. No.
Okay, so it's like a longboard where you take the small skateboard wheels off and you put big off-road rubber tires on, and you go down them. You go down like hills.
Right. Sure.
And it's really, really cool. Like there was a probably a 4 or 5 month period where I was like debating on whether or not I wanted to buy a mountain board.
Yeah, that's really.
It's really niche.
I really don't know where you would ride that realistically.
Yeah, I don't know. Down Freshman Hill, like I don't know.
The problem with anything that doesn't have brakes is you can't stop it.
Oh, 100%. Well, this
or
one,
maybe this has brakes.
So like you could install like a handbrake on these, but but then you're the guy with the big wheeled longboard with a handbrake. Like, do you really want to be that guy like normal streets?
Right. I think I actually took a skateboard, or maybe it was my ripstick, like down a hill in my neighborhood when I was really little, and somebody ended up running a red light, and maybe I was going to run the red light too, sorry, not a red light, a stop sign. That's what I meant.
Okay.
Maybe I was going to run the stop sign too, and I ended up having to like ditch because this guy, because I was gonna I would have got like definitely smashed, and I messed myself up, and I just I'm never going downhill when I like a board, a skateboard, or a ripstick or something like that is so much harder than a snowboard to stop, right?
Sure.
Because you have a bunch of snow you can use to kind of flip, and like when you do that, I mean, you may lose your balance and like get clip some snow and flip forward, but it's much less likely than just having a board fall out or like fly out from underneath you.
Well, even just the difference in circumstance, like if a board flies out from under you when you're like, let's just say longboarding on the street, you're guaranteed going to land on concrete, right?
Right.
But like at least there's a lower percentage of you landing on like super duper compacted snow. Like some of it can actually be, fairly fluffy if it's new powder. So then it's like, okay, I don't know. Like for me personally, I went out when I was a freshman down to the bottom of Freshman Hill with one of the buddies that lived on the hall, and I was just trying to bond. Oh my gosh, thank you. But we'll see you right after this. Don't want to let the camera run out. All right, everybody, and welcome to the Man Card Podcast halftime show. I know it's been a minute since we've been here, but today's topic for the halftime show is going to be Georgia Tech, because you're a Georgia Tech grad.
Piss on them.
Yeah, because you were on the cheer team.
Yeah, I was on the cheer team, and we did actually piss on the UGA football player. Wait, actually, no, that doesn't make any sense. No, we say to hell with Georgia, piss on them.
Yep.
And that's, it's classic. So
no, how about them dogs? Piss on them.
How about them dogs piss on? Yeah, right, exactly. I'm like kind of mashing up. But whenever I see like a Georgia Tech grad out and about, they're like, to hell with Georgia, and I say, piss on them.
And they're probably walking away. They're probably walking away like hell yeah, and then they get far enough away. They're like, wait a minute. I don't think that goes together.
Right. No, or they'll say anything Georgia Tech related or like go Jackets. I'm like, piss on them. And they're like, I actually
What?
don't know what they think.
Yeah, they walk away. They're like, man, that guy's freaking crazy.
Right.
I never claimed to be a true cheerleader. You were a
Right.
true cheerleader.
Right,
I was just the mic man, the lowly mic man.
Well,
And
you did participate in some cheers, so
I did.
And I think you
was
also threw some women, maybe.
I did. I went to the sack fields and threw Jordan a little bit,
Yeah.
which was fun. I could only ever throw up the hands because my upper body is abysmal. But that's okay. You guys helped improve that quite a significant portion.
I think at this point you could stunt pretty well.
I could probably do it.
You beefed up a little.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah.
I think I came in weighing 160 pounds, and now I'm 220.
Yep. Well, that's good. That's good, especially considering the price of food's going up. So
Yeah, so I've got a little heft. It's saving
Yeah.
up for the winter, and
Yeah.
you know what? Since winter is coming, and you're
Right.
saving up layers. You got to buy those extra sweatshirts and beanies, and I know
You
a
have
place
to.
where you can do it.
Goodwill or
Mancardpodcast.com.
mancardpodcast.com.
Go check it out. We don't have sponsors on the show, but mancardpodcast.com is where you can keep up to date with everything that we have going on, recent episodes, and I think there's a butterfly on the camera.
It looks like a mini raccoon to me, actually.
That's actually pretty cool. But anyway, mancardpodcast.com. Check it out, and we'll see you in the rest of the episode.
Peace.
All right, and welcome back to the show. I know we brought up cheer for just a second there in the halftime show.
Right.
Do we want to maybe dive into that a little bit?
We could definitely dive into that. I have not touched the sport really in a very long time because
you were on the, so just to give a little history for everybody out there, I joined the team the fall of my sophomore year at Tech.
Right.
And you were on the team at that point, along with Parker, who I'm sure...
you joined like halfway through.
Yeah.
Question mark? Yeah. Or did you...
No, it was spring?
Yeah.
I tried out the fall of
Okay.
2017.
Yeah.
Because I was also waiting to hear back at that same time whether or not I was going to get into rec club. And I was
Right.
nervous about rec club, which I should not have been. I should not have even joined that club. I've said that 100 times. It's a waste of time. Do not join rec club. They're woke as frick now, so if you want to avoid that and save yourself some brain damage, avoid it. But nevertheless, for the cheer team, when I joined, or I tried out that fall, and I didn't get the chance to, I think what you're thinking of, I didn't get the chance to be with y'all in the opening game for that season, which was at Mercedes-Benz.
Oh, okay.
Which was against Tennessee.
I did not cheer at that one. So, but was your first year 2017?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was on the field, remember? So they didn't have me up in the stands yet.
Yeah.
So I was down there like with y'all because it was, obviously new.
Yeah.
But you were there. Parker was there. Kevin's been on the podcast, so it's been a while since we talked to him. But, I know you left cheer, and I kind of never heard from you again after that.
Yeah, I disappeared. I took a trip. No,
long walk off a short pier.
Right. No, I tried out. Okay, so my background was Will was my in for cheer.
So that's Parker, his
Parker's
older brother.
Right. And Will just got married, so congratulations to him.
Yeah.
But Will got me in. I went and we worked together over the summer. I'm going to kind of be non-specific about that, but we worked together over the summer. Not anything like, we weren't like doing Magic Mike stuff or anything like that. But
hey, maybe, you never know.
I mean,
you guys have
maybe
the personalities for it.
Oh yeah, for sure. And and Will's got the pecs for it. So,
oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Still does.
Yes. No, he has kept his. He will probably never lose his tone. But yeah, so we worked together my 2015, 2016 summer, and then I was transferring into Tech 2017, and so I came to Tech 2017 summer, but tryouts were in the spring, and Will's like, hey, look, dude, I know you're coming to Tech. you should come try out for the team.
Good suggestion.
Right. Very good suggestion. And so he was like, you can come to a couple practices and you can come see how it is, throw some girls around. I was like, dude, I love throwing girls around. And I actually didn't know that at the time. But,
Sure.
But I ended up finding out. Very
quickly find out.
Oh, yes. It's very fun. If you are as long as you're not like, I mean, you could maybe be a midget and still cheer as a guy. It would be very hard. But
there are some, at least now on the cheer team, it's comprised of a lot of, I wouldn't say overly short guys, but a lot of guys that are pretty short.
Well, there's a guy on the team who got onto the team my second year, Ryan.
Yeah.
And he is very short, but he is one of the best. He is one of the best cheerleaders, if not the best cheerleader.
He's got a good foundation.
Oh yeah, I mean he was a gymnast, so
yeah,
or at least I think he was a gymnast.
Yeah, if you're a gymnast, join the Georgia Tech cheer team, please. I love that community. That was one of my saving graces. Just so you know, for your own edification, that whole team was one of my saving graces throughout the entirety at Tech.
Oh yeah, I mean, to add some sanity to the madness. Well, even though, being on the cheer team was kind of added some madness. It also added a little bit of sanity because we had the discipline. We had to be disciplined to wake up in the morning.
Oh my gosh!
And go to lifts, and lifts were early as shit in the morning. I mean, the earliest slot that existed.
We had to get up
everyone's like running around.
I got up at 4 a.m. every day.
Yeah, that was insane.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
My problem was I had to get up at 4 for 4:30 lifts because they switched it from, was 5 something.
Well, so after I left.
After you left, it switched to 4:30.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I honestly love that. Like, I think it was so amazing to have this thing that you had to go to.
Yeah.
Monday, Wednesday, is it still Monday, Wednesday, or was it still Monday, Wednesday, Friday?
Yeah, so we kept getting the short end of the stick where it switched from Monday, Wednesday, Friday to Monday, Wednesday to Tuesday, Thursday.
That doesn't make sense.
Which doesn't make any sense because
Tuesday,
Thursday are practices.
Well, and you probably had to work out with the girls as well.
Yeah, it was at the same time.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, even when it was Monday, Wednesday, Friday?
Yeah, so they would come into the later session, but it was the same day.
Okay. Yeah, so anyways, the Georgia Tech athletic hierarchy, the powers that be were not and have not been very kind to Georgia Tech cheerleading, unfortunately. And yeah, so I guess to get back to the story, off on tangents all over the place. To get back to the story, Will told me to come to a few practices and just see how it was. And I came to those practices, and after the first practice, I was like, yo, I am absolutely hooked. Like, This is awesome.
I mean, the people are amazing. Everybody is so fun. You want to hang out with them more, even outside of the context of practices and competitions and like game days. Like,
and everyone did too.
And my gosh, they did. Like, the amount of times we went to West Campus to go get wing nuts. Like, it's a cancerous amount of times.
Well, luckily I was not heavily involved in wing nuts, so that was lucky for me.
That was more of the Parker and the Wills.
Yes, they are chicken. I call them chicken whores. Okay, they're horny for the chicken. Okay,
very much so.
Very
That's
horny
great.
for the chicken. Yeah, so I came. I came to a few practices and eventually ended up dragging Steven along to the practices. He kind of dragged his feet on it a little bit, which was I was like, dude, what? Just come to a practice. He's like, yeah, dude, I don't really know. I don't really know if I'll like it. I'm like, okay, what do you have to lose if you come to practice? And it was nothing. And here comes the stinger again.
What's up? Let's see if we can
Can we get him a honk? Can we get a honk?
Can we get a honk? Wave.
I think he's missing us this time. Oh, it's a woman. Okay, it's a woman.
I think she didn't want to scare the car that was turning left.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe she hates us.
Or maybe she's just like, ooh, screw those guys.
Yeah. I would say that, honestly.
Honestly, from that distance, I think we probably look like a pile of turds.
I think she's like, what is this guy doing wearing overalls in 80-degree weather?
Yeah, I will be completely honest. When I walked up to your front door and you walked out with that, I was like, one, sexy lumberjack. Two, why? What is the context for this?
Right,
it's 1,000 degrees outside.
Well, I gave the justification later, and the justification was my calves are skinny white boy calves, so we're avoiding. I'm avoiding showing those off.
You are channeling your inner Instagram girl that every photo they take, they cover a portion of their face that they find self-conscious. Yes. So,
well, I want to leave something up to the imagination.
Well, yeah, right? There you go. So maybe you're just lying. Maybe it's like guys say, "Oh, I got the biggest penis in the world." You know, but it's like huge. But it's really, you know what I mean, like.
It's really actually
small.
Huge. Oh. Or I don't know.
I'm definitely in a tiny meat gang for sure.
Oh, okay.
But that's the thing is like who's telling the truth? You know what I mean?
Really, it doesn't really matter. Is what I've heard. Unless you have nothing to work with. Unless you have absolutely nothing.
The trend in today's society.
Unless you're trans. If you're trans, then then you don't have really much to work with.
Yeah. Well, then it's like you're trans and you might have too much to work with.
You're saying you know what I mean? Depending.
Yeah, so you'd never know these days.
I mean, really, there is no way to get around the fact that I was born with something that my sister wasn't. So, and same, and vice versa. We are not. I cannot be like her if I.
Tried. Even if you tried.
Even if I tried.
Yeah.
I do not have the ability. I do not have a genie in a bottle.
Or the genes in your chromosomes.
Yeah. No, my genetics do not work out for me, and I think a lot of people are starting to realize that, which is
thank goodness,
which is refreshing because I think something was trending on Twitter the other day. It was like LGB drop the T.
Yeah. Okay. So there was this thing.
I hate to get off. I'll finish the cheer story, but I think this is interesting.
It's funny because there was this lesbian chick who was on Tucker Carlson the other day.
Yeah. And
she was like, "Yeah, LGB is all preference.
Yeah.
T is sexual identity, which they're like that has no ramification on. It's not related to in any way the LGB of that grouping.
Right.
So they're like, if anything's
you
an
have to
outlier,
catch yourself that you don't say T.
I know.
We're all in the habit.
Oh, I was in housing, so I'm like super programmed. You know what I mean? They put you through like, equality of outcome, like equity training, like diversity, sensitivity, like, and honestly, I would. This is what pissed off a lot of people too. Is I would actually just put my earbuds in.
Well, I mean, it's propaganda. I mean, that's what that's what it is. If people are going to tell you things that are contrary to reality, it is propaganda.
Yeah,
and it might be the reality. It might be some people's reality that their race or their gender or their however they feel, whatever, determines like what goes on in their life. That might be the sole factor, or those may be the sole factors that determine how their life is. Those people may feel that way, but I'm sorry, that's not reality. There are plenty of people out here, and in the United States, making it happen who are like fresh immigrants. You could be from a different country. There's a reason people want to come here.
Yeah, even still with inflation as it is, with the social context as it is, people are still climbing over and running towards the southern border.
People are dying crossing rivers to get here. Yes,
literally, like not even being hyperbolic. Like that's how it is. Dead. To loop it back to cheer, kind of coming in from the end, from like kind of we'll meet in the middle with our stories.
Sure.
So like when I was ending with cheer, I was bringing up all of what we just talked about, right? Because that was super in at that time. In mid-2020, when everybody was locked down for about 2.5, 3 weeks and starting to get a little antsy, the whole time I'm just being an Instagram troll, just posting a ton of stories about...
Yes, I do remember this.
Yeah.
I totally remember this.
Because you kept DMing me and you were like, go off, King. Like, hit it.
Right.
And I was like, thank you, Greg, because you were one of... and I won't name the other people that were DMing me being positive because I don't want them to be, canceled in society.
Right.
But
Doxed.
I was totally ripped a new one. And one of the main reasons, of course, at that time why I was like, I'm not going to use social media anymore. But the irony of the situation was some of my closest friends, and I say closest friends, I wasn't super duper plugged into the cheer community.
Right.
But some of my favorite people on the cheer team ended up coming after me and ganging up on me because of what I was posting.
You may have to tell me who those people are, but
I'll tell you later.
Yeah. Well, it is like upsetting. This goes back to the whole you can't have a difference of opinion and still be cordial with people or even be like tight with people. Some of my best friends I think are just completely wrong. When it comes to how they think about political issues. And unfortunately, like everything's a political issue nowadays, but I'm talking about like kind of specifically political issues like political policy.
Yeah.
But we're still like super tight.
Sure.
And yes, like I give them shit. They don't really give me shit. I just don't think, they're that invested, but I definitely am because I can see where things are going, and we're not headed towards a bright future. We're you're not supposed to. You're taught you're not supposed to have a whole bunch of debt. You're supposed to work hard, and you're supposed to have like an honest life. Right?
Well, I mean, there's 3 factors for success in America.
Yeah.
1, graduate high school.
Sure.
2, don't have kids outside of wedlock.
Sure.
And of course, 3, having 2 parents in your home. If you have those 3 factors satisfied, whether you have debt, not, you went to college, whatever, you will never be in poverty in America.
Well, right. So, but there are 2 factors you are in control of, and the other factor you're not.
Well, that's the thing is, if you think about it from the context of the receiving end, yes, you're not in control of it. But you are in control of it from a traditional, bride-groom aspect of it.
Right.
For the future
for
generation.
the future. Yeah, but people like we do people feel responsible for anything nowadays? No, they're just trying to get ahead because you know why? Because the system is corrupt. Like we're talking about money, we're like, this is funny money, this is fake money. The dollar bill is fake, and the thing is, everyone else is using a fake currency. Everyone else is using a what is it called?
Fiat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I think fiat means like because I say so, or something like that.
It's like a Fiat, the car. It's like, this is going to go somewhere because I say so. They're not like the most reliable. But to get back onto the cheer kind of train, we can kind of rope it all the way back in kind of to the personal responsibility aspect of it.
Yeah.
Because like you were talking about workouts, like being able to have that camaraderie with that group got me through some of the lowest periods that I did have while I was here at Tech.
Yeah.
Because it was like, it was the rock in my corner. Like I could always count on you guys being there at dark 30, waiting, not bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, but like we were all there nevertheless to work out and get a good horrible workout in. And
it was shared misery. We were commiserating together, and it was hell. It was hell for all of us.
Yeah, yes. It was wonderful. It was a wonderful trial, and that was our overlapping time. It was when we were there together. Yes. We were working out at, 5 a.m. Like that was early, dude. That was early.
Dude, I totally miss it. Like I actually totally miss it, and I don't understand how I was able to do it. Dude, I think there's like a train coming for us.
Dude, I know.
Or
I was like, did they install a railroad in the middle of campus? Like,
right.
I wish. That'd be cool.
Right. No, workouts were brutal, but they were amazing. And I guess, right. So to get back onto the story, Will got me in. I got Steven in. He was reluctant to come on board. Yeah. Hopefully Steven's watching this. Maybe he won't because he's a little weenie boy. But I'm just kidding. He'll probably put it on in the background. But we get on the team, and we both make white. And I was like, it was so crazy because Steven dislocated his shoulder at tryouts.
At tryouts.
Yeah.
I remember that story. Yeah.
Right.
That's crazy.
It was crazy, and his tryout was terrible, and he still made the team. And luckily,
And
we were so lucky he did.
White, there's spirit, or what are the levels again? It's like
right. So
white's
there was
in the middle.
There was Navy.
Yeah, Navy. Okay.
But Navy was all girl. Navy
Right.
Navy is just a cheer squad.
Cheer pep squad. Think
Right.
like high school cheer pep squad, but like
Not even
collegiate.
because they're not even doing like
oh,
basic.
they're not even doing basic. Yeah,
They're not even
literally
doing
just cheering.
basic stunts. They're not doing all girl stunts. They're just doing cheers. They're just going to. I mean, they would go to like volleyball games and like the less I guess
High volume sport.
yeah, less important stuff. No flame to them, but I mean that was just it.
I mean that's their job. Their job is to go to a lot of those sports that are not as high volume.
I mean they didn't have what the people were looking for. They didn't have what the people wanted, and that was throwing girls around. And so we tried out. We made the team. Steven dislocated his shoulder. I was like the only new guy to throw a toss extension.
Nice.
And at tryouts. And dude, toss extensions were my bread and butter through my entire time at Georgia Tech.
Hell yeah.
Or on the squad. And so I was on white my first year, and we ended up, we ended up doing all right. But that December, I ended up dropping a bar on my knee doing a clean. And I maybe like a bunch of people have heard about this.
Yep.
But it was terrible. And I'm still having issues with my knee today. Like I'm trying to get it figured out because I think I partially like tore the VMO like away from like the whole like the quad like the whole quad, like because there are 4 muscles in the quad. There's like the middle, like that middle one that like basically runs down your leg, and you have your patella, and then you have your VMO, and then you have the outside one which can get really really chunky.
Sure.
I mean, and the VMO can get chunky too. But yeah, I dropped a bar on my knee, doing the second clean at 264, which was significant. And dude, I thought I was never going to be able to squat again, honestly.
Well, that's the most scary thing too, because that was when we were working out with Dom, right?
Don.
Or Don.
Yeah.
That was right.
Jordan,
but they called him Don.
Yeah.
He was the Don, dude. He was freaking.
He was insane.
He treated the problem with this is like the cheer team it's a very functional strength sport.
Oh yeah.
So like you have to take any kind of like restrictive muscle building move and move that into the world of functional use. So like anything that he was having us do, he came in day one and was like, because you can practically do that through practices, right? Versus in the weight room. But he was like, I want to bring that into the weight room and force all these cheerleaders to just be power lifters. And I was like, oh,
well,
God.
It would be it was not necessarily just powerlifting. Like we did explosive. Like I guess because when people think powerlifting or when you hear a powerlifting meet,
Sure.
you're thinking of the guys in the wrestling suits, right?
Yes,
and
correct.
they're doing the like
The
bench out here.
Yeah, sorry,
and they're
let me
doing
qualify that. Powerlifting moves, but the whole range of motion. Like it was everything.
Right,
So it was
right.
like full deadlifts, it was full power cleans, no press, but full power cleans, snatches.
Well, no jerks. No
jerks.
We did like the one Olympic movement we did was clean.
We did snatches.
Not.
Or maybe some of us did snatches.
It was not the amount of snatches we did was not significant. Not even a little bit. But
No.
like, compared to cleans, like we were doing cleans.
We did cleans almost every single day.
Right, exactly. Every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we were doing cleans. Anyway, so I ended up getting injured. I came back super fast from that.
Yeah.
I was surprised, and I actually hit like a squat PR after that.
Crazy.
Which was insane. But anyways, year one went pretty well. My stunt partner, Amber, we were not able to do that much because I was brand new and she was I think she was coming off of an injury. So we did our best. We also went to competition in Daytona, and I don't think small co-ed or large co-ed did anything that substantial, unfortunately. And so that was year one, but it was a lot of fun. Like made extremely good friends, and just like the atmosphere of the team was like amazing. And then it was year two, and the atmosphere was not as good as year one. It's always like that, right?
Yeah, it's like the honeymoon phase.
Right. Well, I mean, we lost people. We lost people that were really, really
because Will
really,
left.
really awesome. Yeah, Will was gone. Leah was gone.
Yep, she was amazing. I mean, they left together, ironically.
Right. Rob was gone. Piero was gone. Michael was gone. Courtney was gone.
It was a good group. It was a good group that left.
A
that
lot.
First year.
Yeah. We lost a lot. And then second year was pretty good. I ended up making the varsity team. I ended up making gold.
Heck
yeah. And I was not able to do a whole lot. As far as stunting goes, when I say not able to do a whole lot, I'm generally talking about stunting like Josh,
sure,
Will, Parker, Ryan,
overhead press,
even
2 plates,
even
like,
Jackson. Yeah. Like all of them were doing pretty good in QP comps, and I was not.
Yeah,
You
which
know?
I mean, that's the thing is like you come in there not necessarily for like UP comps is like more of like a bragging competition type of thing. Anyway.
Oh yeah.
So, but everything you needed to do functionally outside of that, you would hit and you'd be able to make it happen.
Yes. And it was. It was a blast cheering for football games and cheering for basketball games. I will say probably the most fun though was women's basketball. Cheering for women's basketball.
That's funny.
My first year cheering for women's basketball was probably more fun than football games were fun, except for the pressure was on. Like the pressure was seriously on.
All the old alumni are there. Like,
yeah.
And they really want to make it like everything has to look really crisp.
Right.
Especially the cheer coach.
Yes, the coaches were on our rear ends like white on rice for sure.
Definitely.
But yeah, so first year, great. Second year, pretty great. Third year, I tried out for third year and obviously made the team. But then I was actually Stephen, Warren, and I had all made the determination that we were going to maybe not cheer or probably not cheer our last year, all three of us. And we're like, I was like, why don't we just try out? And that way we'll have the option to be on the team. We can just like say, hey, by the way, we're not gonna do it.
Yeah.
We get to the day, we're gonna be like, we get to closer to fall, and we just say, hey, we're not gonna do it. We're done. I was the only one who said, "Oh, I was done," and
you're the only one who went through with it.
Right. I'm not calling Stephen and Warren weenies. I'm not saying that they don't stick with their decisions, but
it was just a context. It was a game time decision. And for you, it like the lights all came on at the same time.
They made a decision to do what was comfortable.
Yeah, of course.
I made a decision to do what was probably uncomfortable, but also probably good for me because I was kind of beating myself up in cheer. You get like pretty physically like
worn down,
brutalized.
Yeah.
So it was. I think it was a good call, but year one, year two, and I worked a little bit over the summer. Cheer ended up being like one of the best things I could have done. I wouldn't be best friends with Warren if I didn't do cheer. I wouldn't be best friends with Will if I didn't do cheer.
Yep.
I wouldn't have met, everyone else. Parker, Josh, and Parker, Josh, and Will were all playing league before, like I had met them. I had met all of them before I even started cheering. So, you hear people refer to Parker as Tucker, and that was because I think I misheard his name one time, or maybe I was just like screwing around, and I was like, Tucker? So I'd refer to him as Tucker when we were playing games.
Yep.
And yeah, so that it was nice to have like a group of people I already knew, because I already knew Will, and then I did also already know Josh and Parker. So I came in, and it was a blast. And I don't know how it is now. I understand that they just recently got a new coach, but
Yeah, so I think the last two things we can end on is they got a new coach. I talked to one of the buzzes. We'll keep that a secret who it was. But he was like, yeah, they moved lifts to 11:30 now.
that is terrible.
Yeah, it's even worse than the morning.
Well, yeah, it's smack dab in the middle of the day. You can't go to
Can't do lunch. You can't do class. Yeah.
I mean, luckily you get priority registration as a student
Sure.
athlete, but it's still a complete. Things have changed, and I think a few things have changed not for the better.
Oh, definitely. But anyway, thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Greg, for
Yeah.
showing up. And of course, mancardpodcast.com, mancardpod@gmail.com, and of course, Mancard Podcast on Instagram. We'll see you next time. Adios.